Hello everyone, my name is JB and I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to be talking about my first college football game. I'm originally from North Carolina, and when I was growing up, from the time maybe I was 5 or so until today, I've been a football fan. But when I was a kid in elementary school, I played football in the yard with my friends. Didn't play any organized football, but I had two cousins, older cousins, who played football at a private school called Charlotte Latin. And the older one, he was really good, and I sometimes would see him on the TV, on the news, or in the newspaper, because I read the newspaper even though I was a kid. That's just how it was. But when I was in the fifth grade, my cousin Ben, the older one, the one who was really good, he went to Davidson College, which is a college that's kind of in the Charlotte area. It's north of Charlotte. It's a small school, liberal arts school, and he went there to play football and baseball. And so it was his freshman year, and his first football season, and it turned out to be his only football season. But I made a deal with my uncle that if I didn't get in trouble at home or didn't get in trouble in school, that he would pick me up one morning and take me to a football game to see my cousin play. And I did that. I did what I was supposed to do. And one morning, him and my younger cousin, they came and picked me up. We went to the family business and did some things there real quick in the morning that my uncle needed to do. And then we went to a hospital where my cousin, my younger cousin, he had gotten injured in a football game the night before. He hurt his arm, so he had to go get that X-rayed and checked out and everything, and figure out what to do about that. But then we went to the game, and we rode in this van that my aunt had. It was like, for that time, a very fancy van, luxurious. It had TVs in it. You know, we didn't have that in my house, but they had TVs in it. It had I think like Nintendo, what was it, Super Nintendo or something like that. I don't think I played it, but they had that, I think. And my cousin, he had I think it was a CD player. It could have been a tape player, but either something like that, something that I didn't have. He had that, and so I just kind of got to see a part of life that I had never seen before, because like my dad didn't have very much money, even though they came from the same family and they built the business together. But so we rode up there to the college, Davidson College, and went into the game, and it was exciting for me because I was going to get to see my cousin play, and because I had never been to a football game before, college football. And my cousin, even though he was a freshman, he was really good. Uh, he he caught some touchdowns that year. He caught passes in, I think, just about every game, if not every game. He was on kickoff team as a returner and punt team as a returner, and I believe he also played some defense. I don't remember I don't remember seeing him play defense, but I believe he also played some defense. Because when he was in high school, he didn't come off the field basically. He played offense, defense, special teams, everything. And but this game, I think he played some receiver, and he was on the kickoff team. And one thing that I remember about the game, and this sucks, but he muffed a punt return. I think it was a punt return. Could have been a kickoff return, but I think it was a punt return. He was back and he was trying to catch it, and what he said later on is that the sun was in his eyes, and he couldn't see the ball coming down. But he tried to catch it, but he just dropped it. He got it back, and maybe got a couple yards, but that was it. Wasn't a big return, and but he was disappointed because he's like perfectionist. He still is, and he doesn't like to see. He doesn't like for other people to see him fail, and so like after the game, one of the first things I said to him was, "Hey, you dropped that punt, or you dropped that kick," and he got mad. He's probably still mad about it. That's how he is. But I was just kidding with him, because I couldn't have done that. But I don't think in that game he had any catches on offense as a receiver or anything like that. But we got to see him play. And one thing I remember is at halftime, you know how the kids sometimes go down on the field? Well, a bunch of kids went down there, including me and my cousin Lizzie, who's in their family, the baby of the family. She and these other kids, they knocked the pads that are off of the goalpost. She knocked them down, and then they couldn't get them back up. So I remember my uncle saying, "Jarrett, go down there and help her." So I had to run down and help her put it back on because I was down there with him, but then I went up in the stands and talked to my uncle. But then when he saw there was a problem, he sent me back down there. And so I helped her get it back on there and everything. And but even though my cousin didn't play well, it was fun because I got to eat as much pizza as I wanted. And they had Domino's pizza there. And my uncle, he probably bought me like 10 pieces. Maybe. I was just eating one right after the other, and he kept buying it. He had the money, so I mean, but back then it was probably like $2.50 or something, $2. I don't know. But he kept buying it, and I kept eating it and kept drinking it. Probably Dr. Pepper, maybe Coke, Pepsi. But I was drinking a lot of soda, and it was a quiet weekend there because it was Veterans Day weekend, I believe, or some holiday, and it was also Parents Weekend. So there was a lot of parents there, but just from the team. But a lot of the other fans that normally would have been there just weren't there, and a lot of the students I think weren't there that would have been there normally. But it was still fun. I mean, it's a small college, so you can't expect that many people to be there. But definitely bigger than a high school game, or most high school games. Some high school games in North Carolina and some in other states like Texas and California, they get tens of thousands of fans, but normal high school game doesn't get that many, maybe 1,000, maybe 500. But it was bigger than most high school games, as you'd expect because it was a college. But I remember after the game, we all went down on the field, and my aunt and the coach saw each other. His name was Tim Landis, and they started talking, and the coach said, "I want Ben to play with us for all 4 years." And she said, "I want him to do that too, but I don't know if he will." And the reason that she thought and he thought that he might not, that Ben might not play all 4 years, was that Ben was also a good baseball player, very good baseball player. And he had been a very good baseball player in high school, so he came to Davidson with the intention of playing two sports. And Ben, I think, realized in the spring, after this game happened, in the spring, that he liked baseball more, and that he was better at baseball than football. Even though he was really good at football, he was just better at baseball. But the coach definitely wanted him to play all 4 years, and my aunt did. I think I did. My uncle and my other cousins probably wanted to see him play football all 4 years, but that's not what he wanted to do apparently. But I remember after the game, me and my cousin Daniel, the one who had the injured arm, and then my cousin Ben, the football player, we went to Ben's dorm room, and Ben was um, sharing a room with a golfer. I don't remember the guy's name. He was sharing with the golfer, and the golfer wasn't there. So we just hung out in Ben's room. Ben took a shower. And I remember looking in his fridge. He had this little fridge, and the only thing in there was a Diet Coke, and I don't think it was his. And there was some chips on top of the fridge, and those weren't his either. But me and my cousin, we ate those and drank the Diet Coke. And I just thought it was kind of funny that a guy who comes from a family with a lot of money didn't have food in the fridge. It didn't make sense to me. But I also remember having a conversation with my cousin. He had this flyer on his bed that said something about um, don't wear jeans on a certain day in order to show support for the. Um, Back then, they just used to call it the gay community, but now we would call it the LGBTQ community. And Ben, he's very conservative. I think he always has been. But he said he didn't have anything other than jeans, and so that was a problem for him because he didn't want to show support for that community. But now I think that school is much more progressive than that, and maybe that wouldn't happen now. That people would, not show support, or at least that there would be some group of people that wouldn't support all people. But there at that time there were a lot of people that were against homosexuality and against people who were homosexuals or what we now call LGBTQ. Later on, I think it was that year in the yearbook, uh, they wrote something about my cousin that said, "Don't be Ben gay," and or "Don't be gay Ben," and I think that's what it said, and that was not hateful, but it was inappropriate. And I don't think that would happen now, because that was like 1996 or 7, so that's almost 30 years ago. But anyway, so after that football season, I mean, back then they were playing 1AA, so they were playing like really small schools. They were playing mostly small liberal arts schools in the southeast, like Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina areas, Georgia. And most of these schools, if I told you the names, you wouldn't even know them unless you're from those areas. But later on, Davidson started playing at a higher level. They started playing, I guess, at 1AA. So they weren't playing at 1AA back then, but they went to 1AA, and then they started playing schools that you might know. So the program now is at a higher level. But after that football season, 1996, my cousin, he played baseball, did very well his freshman year. He was one of the best players on the team, even as a freshman. And people were already telling him that he might have a professional career. So he focused on baseball. But I remember when we went home, when we drove home from the game, the college football game that I went to where he played, he brought his baseball bats home, all his equipment home. I said, "Why are you doing that? It's not even time for baseball yet." And he said that you have to train year-round in order to be good. And so he was working on his swing and trying to get his body in shape for baseball, because it's sort of different, the way you have to be built for the two different sports. And he was already focused on that, even though he was playing baseball. But I mean, I guess that was the right move for him. He never did become a professional baseball player. He played for a college wooden bat team in the summer, like a summer league team. He didn't get paid for that, but it's a higher level than college because only certain players from college get selected to do that. And then in his senior year, he broke his leg playing baseball. Um, he originally broke it and didn't realize it was broken. He was still playing on it, and then it broke all the way, and there was no getting around it. And he was down for a while, for I think most of the season, and he was able to come back, but um, since he had missed a lot of that season, he didn't get as much playing time. He didn't get seen as much by scouts. And when the Major League Draft happened in 1997, he just didn't get chosen. Even though scouts had been telling him that he was going to get chosen, they had been telling my uncle, but he just didn't get chosen. And he had some options to play for independent league teams, but he just didn't want to. He said, that was a good part of my life. It was a good memory, but it's over. And so he didn't want to try to keep chasing that dream, but it was over. But getting back to the college football game, it was cool to be able to have that experience with my cousin and my family, to be able to see my cousin play, even though he dropped the punt, whatever, or the kickoff, whatever it was. He didn't have a big game. He did well, basically he did everything he was supposed to do. And it was fun to see the college where he went, because that was the first time I'd ever been to the college, even though it wasn't far away. And to see what, for a little bit, what his life was like there, and to learn about what it's like to be a college student, even though I was in 5th grade. And so that was a good memory I have. Tell me what your first college football game was like, or was, and what it was like. Thanks for watching. Bye.